Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Not really a whole lot that I want to talk about in this video. So I will pause it as it's playing and just intermittently do that to talk about a few things. But other than that, this is pretty much just going to be most of what you see from the original video. I'm not going to really have a whole lot of commentary for the rest of it. So I'm not going to play the whole 18-minute video and then go back and try to talk about stuff. I'll just pause it a couple times here and there, talk, and then let it go. All right, here we go.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Kevin Petrus with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. CMPD is publicly releasing a collection of video footage related to a barricaded subject and an officer-involved shooting that took place on March 11th, 2023, at a residence in the 3800 block of Greer's Fork Drive. The purpose of this video is to provide details, analysis, and a timeline of the incidents so that the viewers may have a better understanding of the entire event. You will hear from Sergeant Michael King throughout this video. Sergeant King is a 25-year veteran of CMPD and the current operations supervisor for the CMPD SWAT team. Please understand that this video contains situations and language that could be disturbing to some viewers. On Saturday, March 11th, 2023, at 6:46 a.m., a resident in the Greer's Fork Drive area called 911 and stated that his neighbor was threatening to kill him and police officers. Here is a portion of that 911 call.
Charlotte 911, do you need police, fire, or medic?
I need police.
And what's going on that you'll need the police?
Well, my neighbor is threatening me, threatening to kill me, threatening to kill police. I have it on video. We're scared.
Okay, and when you say he's threatening you, is he doing it in person, on the phone? What
yes,
is he?
On the phone with a megaphone. He's out in front of his yard.
At approximately 7 o'clock a.m., another resident in the area called 911. This caller also stated that the subject was threatening neighbors and noted prior police involvement with the subject. Here's a portion of that call.
Charlotte 911, do you need police, fire, or medic?
I need police. I need to file communicating threats report. I'm working with CMPD crisis response team, and our neighbor is threatening us currently, and the officer with crisis response told us to call 911 to file a police report. Between September 2017 and this date, police had responded to this residence 46 times. The CMPD Community Policing Crisis Response Team has been involved with this subject, or in matters pertaining to him, 13 times. Steel Creek Division officers responded to the call for service. The responding officers were familiar with the subject, identified as Ann Ty, from previous encounters. They also knew that he had an outstanding order for his arrest related to a previous communicating threats incident. Upon arrival of officers, the subject used a megaphone from inside of the residence and refused to come outside.
You are not police. I am the president of the USA. You're talking about John Trump.
The subject's mother exited the residence and told officers that the male had a firearm. This was the beginning of a nearly 30-hour armed standoff between the male and police.
Have sit pill.
He has pills?
Sit the gun, have the sick.
Revolver.
Yeah.
Officers backed away from the residence and began to call the subject out of the residence with a loudspeaker.
Mr. Ty, it's the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. We're outside. We're not going anywhere. We need you to step outside with your hands up. Nothing in your hands.
Through communication with the subject's family, officers were able to determine that the male subject was the only person inside the house. They continued to call out on a loudspeaker, asking him to come outside, and attempting to make contact with him on the phone.
Okay, đưa lại điện thoại cho cảnh sát.
Hai bạn con nói đi mà cầm.
Do you hear me, officer?
Yes.
So she says that he does have a revolver in his room somewhere.
Again, this was a subject that had a valid order for his arrest, armed with at least one gun, who was threatening to kill neighbors and police officers, and was refusing to comply with law enforcement officers. The CMPD SWAT team operations supervisor, Sergeant Michael King, was notified of the incident. He and a small number of on-duty SWAT officers responded to the scene. 2 additional warrants for arrest were obtained against the subject for communicating threats. Because the subject was deemed to be a danger to himself and others, an involuntary commitment order was also issued. Officers on the scene were repeatedly attempting to make contact with the subject to negotiate his surrender, but he refused to engage in conversation. They began to use a loudspeaker device called an LRAD. At approximately 10:50 a.m., SWAT officers on scene approached the residence and breached the front door.
06-2539. Well, I will call you. I just need you to answer your phone. This is very important. Nobody is here to hurt you. We are only here to help. Your mother's worried about you. And we are here to make sure that you get the help you need.
This police action prompted a verbal response from the subject, and he began to engage with officers on the phone.
The damage that SWAT causes to homes or houses, one of the first things we'll always do is breach a door, right? And when you breach a door, it's either a manual or using, an example would be the ram on the Bearcat. That damage is usually caused, a lot of times what we see over the years is if somebody's not talking, somebody won't communicate, some sort of overt action will create or solicit a response from that person.
The subject told officers that he had a firearm. The officers then backed away from the residence. Shortly after, officers observed the subject at the front door with a gun in his hand. Officers continued to speak on the phone with the subject.
I want you to get help, bud. And I will help you with that. But you've got to help me too. And I need you to come out. I need you to put the gun down, all right?
I'm not coming out, man.
The full CMPD SWAT team was then activated. Crisis negotiators also responded to enhance negotiations with the subject.
The initial response for this barricade was a criminal barricade versus non-criminal barricade, and the difference between the two is the easiest way to look at it is a person that's suicidal versus a person that's committed a crime. The SWAT team was used for barricades when there's a person that presents a threat to others, either usually with some sort of weapon. And in this case, the subject here had a handgun that was initially reported by the mother. At that point, based off all the circumstances and everything that had already occurred, we looked at that as that's probably a response that SWAT needs to come out, or a situation that SWAT needs to come out and take care of. The resources that SWAT have, things that Patrol doesn't have, is we have the access to armored vehicles, we have shields, we have LRAD, we have a crisis negotiator team that is paired with us that has the ability and training to communicate and talk and de-escalate situations through verbal communication with folks. We train monthly. We train for warrant services, barricades, different high-risk situations where Patrol doesn't get that training. The SWAT team doesn't always just run in. It's not how we do things. Our response is always to try and de-escalate. We would prefer the person to come out to us than us to go into their domain.
By 1:30 in the afternoon, the SWAT team was fully assembled. Negotiation attempts had been ongoing for the duration of the incident through loudspeakers and the telephone.
Do not leave that house with a gun in your hand. Do not. Listen, I can't be more clear than that right now, okay? Do not walk out of that house with a weapon in your hands. Okay? Don't do that. I can't be any more clear right now. Do not do that.
Oh. Hey, King. Can I call you King? King, my name's Matthew, and I'm with the police department, and I'm out here right outside your house. King, I've been listening to everything, and I've heard everything you've said, and I'm really worried about you.
Because the subject had closed the front door, a SWAT vehicle was used to push the door open again. This allowed officers to be able to physically see inside of the house and send a drone into the house. The first drone was sent in and then removed when the subject got agitated. A short time later, at approximately 1:52 in the afternoon, a SWAT vehicle was used to push down the front door. This was due to the fact that the subject had continued to close the door after it being pushed open. At approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a search warrant was issued for the residence. Communication with the subject was ongoing with both a loudspeaker and telephone. From this point on, in order to gain both a tactical advantage and communication advantage, and to encourage continued communication by the subject, a SWAT vehicle was utilized to breach or remove several windows and doors from the residence. At 3:45 p.m., an upstairs window was breached. Another tactic used by police during this incident was shutting off the power to the residence. This was done at approximately 3:50 p.m. Shortly after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, another drone was sent into the residence. The subject damaged the drone.
This guy is certifiably crazy looking. So I think they had said something like they have responded to this particular residence like 40 something times. They've like that crisis intervention team or whatever had dealt with him specifically like 13 different times. Obviously this guy is a problem to the community there. You go back in history, you go back in time, and based off, what little I know about the history of things, of crazy people in this country, people like this were locked away. They had asylums for just crazy people, and things. Don't know how they changed. Don't know the exact history of it, but things changed, and those things kind of went away, and now it's seen as more of a treatment kind of thing. Like they got a scrape on their leg, like it's a boo boo, and you're going to heal them. There's no healing some people with these mental problems. There's not, and the safe thing to do for the community is to lock them away. There are some people who just don't need to be walking out in the streets with the rest of us. Like they literally need to be in a cage. They're rabid. And this person, I feel the same way about him. Like this person does not need to be walking out with everyone else. Doesn't. Just needs to be locked away somewhere for their safety and for the safety of the community. And we're only, roughly about halfway through this video, a little bit more than halfway through this video, and we still haven't seen the rest of the crap that's going on. But we just know enough right now that this dude, he's out there. I mean, look how he's trashed this house. I mean, look at all this junk he's put in the stair there. Like, he's not like, you say someone's like they got mental health problems, oh me, so sorry, how boo-hoo. Like, no, this guy's not he's not like that. Like, this guy's smart enough to know that he's going to have to barricade himself in there, and he's blocking the stairwell with all this trash. He's not that far gone mentally where he's some drooling, whatever, complete invalid or whatever. He's able to go and make some, I wouldn't say rational decisions, because this ain't very rational, but he's able to go and make some decisions in life and carry on with his life in such a manner to where he doesn't tip the scales too far one way to get him locked away in the loony bin. But he's obviously crazy enough to where he needs to be locked away, but because of how the system is and how lenient it's become, he's not locked away. And this is the result. Look at this house. He has destroyed this house. His mother's house. His own mother. He has destroyed this house. And you'll see some more footage and stuff from the drones and the robots that they end up sending in, but this place is a mess. And it looked like it was a mess before he even did all this stuff to impede their movements. You'll see what looks like his basement looking thing. Like, he fits the quintessential mold of the dude, living in mom's basement. He's got his little computer command center down there. Yeah. Poor mom. Like, mom's a victim in all this, but she's also probably an enabler. Like, how old is this guy? Why is he still living with his mama? If he can amass all that crap in that little room to have a computer room and do all that crap, he can take the time and effort to get a job and get his own place to live. So mom is half and half. She's a victim and she's an enabler in all this. But people like this, like I said, we just need to go back to the old days of just locking crazy people away and just taking them out of the community. Just no reason for this to be going on. This went on for, I think they said like 2 days pretty much. That's a long time to be tying up police resources. That's a long time for people to have to be evacuated out of their homes. So the neighbors directly to the side of them, like, where are they at during all this? Are they staying home? Are they sitting in their living room eating cookies while the SWAT team's outside? No, probably not. The SWAT team probably heavily encouraged them to evacuate the house and move on down the street so that, no bullets go flying through their window and hit them. Where are they at for this whole time frame? Did the city provide them a hotel room while they were dislodged from their home? If they have kids, what do you think the kids are going through? The sheer terror of living next to a fucking crazy ass motherfucker and not being able to stay in their own home because of that. We have a lot of soft people in our society who want to take pity on people like this and give them second chance after second chance after second chance after second chance and think that they have a medical problem like a scraped knee and that it's going to scab over and then be fine. No, it does not work like that with mental stuff. Like people who are mentally broken like this, it's pretty much forever. Like, there's no fixing this. The only solution is to lock them away,
rendering it disabled. At 4:18 p.m., a first floor window was removed. At approximately 4:20 p.m., another drone was sent into the residence and was disabled.
The use of drones and robots for SWAT, it is safer to use technology. Currently, SWAT has 4 drones and the Bob. We have 4 drones.
So this is like, I'm assuming this is going to be his little room. It's basically a garage turned into an extra room. It's the computer thing right here, like, is Mama hanging out down in here? Maybe. This could be Mama's room, but, typically it's younger people who have the computers and stuff like that. So I'd say this is probably his little living in Mom's basement kind of thing right here.
And 1 mini robot, and the bomb squad here has 2 larger robots. Part of our course of action will always, if possible, to put a piece of technology in a house before I'll put a human life.
By 5:00 p.m., negotiations had been on and off. This was around 9 hours into the incident. The subject then appeared in the front doorway with a firearm in his hand. A SWAT officer perceived a lethal threat and fired 1 shot. The subject then retreated into the residence.
He's trying to put the door back up, it looks like. Gun in his left hand. Shot out.
And we want to make sure you're okay. We need you to come down to the front door with nothing in your hand.
Nate, get ready to move, but don't move yet.
In our barricades, even with our warrant services, all of our calls, we'll always have some sort of sniper team deployment. In this case, we had several that were deployed. The subject in this case came downstairs, presented himself in the doorway. The sniper that was in position perceived a threat, took the shot. The subject in this case backed away, backed upstairs. Communication was established again with the negotiators. It was determined that he was not shot. And
that's unfortunate too. Had a good shot been made on this guy, you can tell just by the size of this box mag right here. Like, this is going to be a 30 caliber kind of rifle, like probably a 7.62. You can tell that it's silenced by the sound. Had a silencer on there. Don't know why he missed. Usually, guns like this are pretty darn accurate. But something happened. Don't know. Maybe he forgot to readjust his scope. His dope was off. He had it dialed in for some other distance and condition. I don't know. But that's gotta suck. Like you're the designated sniper, right? And you fucking miss. You know he got a lot of shit over that. But hey, you know it happens. But it's kind of hard to live that down when you're the sniper and that's your specialty. That's your job is to snipe people and you miss.
At that point, we continued with verbal dialogue on the phone, trying to de-escalate, get him to come out.
While the subject initially stated that he had been shot, a drone and a robot were sent into the residence and observed that the subject was not injured. Further, the subject contacted his mother and told her that he was not shot. The subject made calls to 911 shortly after the shooting. Here are portions of those calls.
Charlotte 911, do you need police, fire, or medic?
I saw the police shot a person because he was holding a gun and pointing at police. And the police shot him. He's dead. I need to make a police report.
Okay, well, where are you at so we can make that report?
I'm in heaven.
Oh, okay.
I'm a ghost. Yes, my name is Lucifer. I'm not real, all right? I'm in heaven.
Okay.
And I saw, I'm the messenger of God, all right? God, the Holy Bible. I swear by the name of Jesus Christ. I saw the police kill this idiot fool holding his gun, cocked back, pointing at them, knowing damn well there's a sniper across the street.
Around 5:30 p.m., 2 vehicles were removed from the driveway of the residence by a SWAT vehicle. This was done to prevent the potential of a rapid escape of the subject and to remove any potential cover that he could have if he exited the residence with a firearm. Around 5:48 p.m., officers sent another drone into the residence. This drone was also disabled. Again, negotiations were on and off throughout the incident. At around 6:30 p.m., after the subject had discontinued communication for a period of time, officers breached an upstairs window on the side of the house. This reestablished communication. Power was restored to the residence at approximately 6:30 p.m. Shortly after, a SWAT vehicle was used to push the front door in further, breach the garage doors, and breach the remaining front windows. Throughout negotiations, the subject exhibited multiple different personalities. By 7 o'clock in the evening, negotiators advised that the subject was exhibiting a fourth personality. By 8:42 p.m., the subject stated that his past body was dead and that he was now Lucifer. At approximately 9 o'clock p.m., 13 hours into the incident, windows and the garage door frame were removed. During the process of maneuvering the large SWAT vehicle and the attachment, the garage header was inadvertently hooked, which pulled it from the structure. At approximately 10:20 p.m., a robot was sent into the residence. The subject damaged this robot also, resulting in it being pulled out and disabled. Between the hours of 10:30 p.m. on March 11th and noon the next day, March 12th, there were no overt actions by police or the subject. Negotiators were on the phone with the subject as much as he would engage during this time. At 12:20 p.m. on March 12th, over 28 hours into the incident, power to the residence was again cut off. Negotiations continued. At approximately 1:18 p.m., nearly 30 hours into this armed standoff with police, officers observed the subject walking down the stairs in the residence. Near the bottom, he turned to go back up the stairs. At that time, officers deployed an OC powder chemical munition through a breached upstairs window to discourage the subject from going back upstairs. This prompted the subject to exit the residence.
You're good, Auntie. Keep walking towards us, brother. You're doing good. Keep walking towards us. Keep walking towards the sound of my voice. I got cuffs.
not getting my bag. Let's shoot it. That's not getting my bag. Let's shoot it.
He was taken into custody by SWAT officers in the front driveway. A firearm fell from his shirt pocket during the arrest. Over the course of this standoff, the residence that the subject was occupying sustained serious damage.
So as the day goes on, time goes on, communication is lost. A lot of times we will either breach a window, breach another door. That overt action is to either reestablish communication. If the person has a tactical advantage, the ability to move throughout the home, a lot of times if you take windows and things like that out, it gives you the advantage to have line of sight, to be able to see inside, and it restricts their movement a little bit more. Or even if they are moving, it gives you the ability to see inside. And we also look at the priorities of life. The NTOA established the priorities of life. And the first one's always going to be a hostage. The second one will be innocent civilians. The third one is law enforcement, medical personnel. Fourth is a suspect or subject. And when I say subject, I refer to that as a suicidal person. And then the last is property evidence. Even though that person falls, if it's a criminal barricade, the person inside may fall just under law enforcement. And that fourth on the priorities of life, it's still a human life. We still have to place value on that, and we have to still give them the opportunity to come out through de-escalation means, whether, again, that's verbal or other ways.
The CMPD Homicide Unit led the investigation of the officer-involved shooting. No charges will be filed against the officer who fired his weapon. CMPD Internal Affairs conducted a separate investigation to determine if the shooting was within CMPD policy. It was ruled that the shooting was justified. The use of deadly force for a law enforcement officer in North Carolina is governed by North Carolina General Statute 15A-401D2, which states, a law enforcement officer is justified in using deadly physical force upon another person when it is or appears to be reasonably necessary to defend himself or a third person from what he reasonably believes to be the use or imminent use of deadly physical force. The full collection of videos can be found at our website, www.cmpd.org, and on the CMPD YouTube channel.
All right, so not much else to really see in this video. Man, they did a number on this house. They fucked it up. That kind of sucks for mom, because I guess you could go back in there and live in it the way it is, but chances are probably not. And hopefully this is a wake-up call to mom to stop enabling her crazy son, and maybe, encourage them to move elsewhere, and hopefully they do move elsewhere, and then the people in that community, their neighbors, can get some relief and not have to be dealing with this crazy bullcrap all the time. 48 freaking calls going to this place, and this whole incident here, like I said earlier, the kids who have to live next door to this, how do you think that's affecting them? How's it affecting their mental health when they're seeing this crap going on, and that they've probably been evacuated from their own home over all of this? The gun that he had, I don't even know if that's real or not. It could be real. This one, they talk about a gun falling in his pocket, but then they don't talk about the second gun. This thing's probably fake. It's probably one of those little stupid lighters or something that's shaped like a gun. But this guy, his backpack that he had, I guess he thought he was going on a little trip or something, and had his backpack with his computer in it and other stuff. I guess he thought he was going to a sleepover or something instead of going straight to jail.
A firearm fell from
I got cuffs.
the subject from going back upstairs. This prompted.
So they used OC powder to kind of block the area that he could retreat back to. Not a bad idea. But why didn't they use chemical munitions before all this? Before ripping down the walls of the building like that. I think they could have deployed some of that stuff inside the house and smoked them out. I think that could have been probably a pretty good option to alleviate damage to this house. Because at this point, I don't even know if Mama owns this house. They could be renting, and so if they're renting this house, then the homeowner themselves, like, they're screwed. The police department's not paying for all that. They're going to have to put that on their insurance, and that's going to potentially cause their rates to go up, and or that insurance company may decide to drop them as a customer. Who knows? And that sucks for them. And so I think that chemical munitions, could have been used first. And yeah, there's some contamination issues with that. Yeah, that stuff kind of needs to be deconned up afterwards. But something like the pepper ball stuff, they could have at least used that instead of flushing the house with like CNCS or something. The drones that they sent in, so drones are a pretty cool technology. Axon has a drone in the works that can fire taser cartridges. I don't know if drones exist right now that can fire OC or chemical munitions, but that needs to be the next direction with the less lethal stuff in drones. I think a drone that has a fogger on it for OC would be a great asset to have in situations like this. They could fly that thing through the house, send it deep into a room, and even if the person like knocks the thing out of the air and smashes it, as you send that thing into the room, you hit the button and it starts just releasing OC spray in a fog type of releasing, and just fog that whole room, that whole section of the house with OC spray. And they can stay in there with all that junk in the air, but they're not going to enjoy it. Chances are they're going to try to get out of that contaminated area, go where there's fresh air, and then open themselves up to being snatched up by the police. So lots of possibilities for some pretty cool technology out there. I just don't know if a OC equipped drone exists or not. This house is jacked up. Yeah, like that's gonna cost a lot of money. Like I said, if they were renting this place, man, that sucks for the actual property owner, because that's a lot of damage there. And even if Mom did own this place, sucks for her too, because that's a lot of money to fix all this. But at the same time, you shouldn't have been enabling your crazy ass kid. Alright, not much else to say on this video. If you like what you hear, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.